But then there's like always like, you know, kids and teenagers who just point and make fun of it. And honestly, I take my head off. I make sure I do all my makeup so I look hot as shit. And I'm like, okay, am I really that much of a loser? Like, please let me know.
Welcome back to Other People's Lives. I'm Joe Santagato.
I'm Greg Dybec.
For anyone out there that wants to be a guest on our show, don't hesitate to reach out to us. You can reach us at our email, which is oplpodcast@gmail.com, or just visit our website at oplshow.com.
Yeah, and before we get into today's episode, we want to give a shout out to everyone who has purchased a copy of Pay the Price. This is the trivia party game that Joe and I created. We wrote every single card ourselves. It's a lot of fun, and if you haven't checked it out yet, head over to paythepricegame.com and use the code OPL at checkout to get 15% off. We promise you it's a good time. If you get it and it's not, you can come yell at us. But let's jump into today's episode, where we're going to be speaking with a furry in sex work, or a not safe for work fursuiter. I don't know, I said it like that. But before we get into this, disclaimer, before all the comments come rolling in, we totally understand that the furry community has a stigma attached to it. We know that it is not a sexual-based fetish community. Parts of it are, but also a large part of it isn't. And we have done an episode in the past with a furry who talked about going to conventions, who didn't have any sexual relation to, you know, their fursuit or dressing up or anything. It was just the fandom experience of a furry. So it's not, if you're watching the YouTube, it's not on this YouTube channel. It's an older episode. You can check it out on iTunes, Spotify. It's audio only, but we have had that conversation. So we don't want to go to war with the furries, because we know if we did just a sex work furry episode first, that, you know, we know what comments would come in from, you know, other furries who it doesn't apply to them as a sexual fetish or anything like that. So just getting that out there. But today we are talking to a woman about her experience as a furry in sex work. So we've got the guest on the line. Thank you so much for being on today.
Yeah, thank you for having me here. I'm excited to talk about it.
Yeah, thanks for sitting through that rant. I'm scared. I'm scared of furries. Like I don't want that community to turn on us. Well, because we love them and we were once accepted by them. So that's why I just put, you know, so much effort into that. But can you just, I guess, let us know about your experience and what exactly being a furry in sex work means, or as you put it in the email, a not safe for work fursuiter?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I also just want to preface this too, just reiterating what Greg was saying. This is my personal experience in the fandom. It definitely does not represent everyone's experience. If anything, I feel like my experience is the minority of it. Mm-hmm. But yeah, just wanted to preface with that.
The furries have us shook, by the way. We're all, Joe, do you want to get in and let the furries know that you don't mean them any harm?
I think you guys handled it.
Yeah. But yeah, at least my experience with it, before I even had a fursuit or anything like that, I've always been into exhibitionism, which is more about just being, you know, at least the way I interpret it is having nudity online and things of that nature. So that's always been something I was into even before the fandom. But yeah, at least with myself, I had my fursuit back in 2018. And prior to 2018, I was already involved in sex work. So I was mainly in the online community with that. So, you know, selling photos, videos, undergarments, things of that nature. But yeah, I did that beforehand. And I would always like cut off my face or other things like that, because I just didn't want my identity, especially with like having a career and another type of job besides for this. This is mainly fun for me. I didn't want that to be affiliated with my face. So I would always cover it up and everything like that. But, you know, when I did get my fursuit, there is a small community that also performs sexual acts in fursuit. So, you know, I was mainly into that because, you know, it was kind of smaller back then, but it was also getting a little bit more accepted by the actual fandom itself. which is pretty nice because it used to be really shunned upon, especially.
Is it just in person that we're talking about, or is it like cam shows as a furry?
For me personally, it was cam shows, but these other people, it would be both.
Got it.
And can you just describe for anyone listening who right now is like, I don't even know what a furry is. I don't know what these guys are, talking about. Can you just, I guess, quickly describe the fandom, but also exactly what a fursuit is? And even if you want to go into detail about what yours is, because I think you mentioned it's a custom one, of just like who that character is and how that whole world works.
Yeah, of course. Sorry, I kind of just assume people know everything with it. So all my friends are in the fandom at this point, so it's hard to actually realize. But at least when it comes to furry, it's so hard to think of an exact definition for it. But I feel like it's a shared appreciation of anthropomorphized animals. I can never say that word right, but I shorten it to just anthro. But, you could think of things like Zootopia. There's like Nick Wilde and the rabbit. I'm always forgetting names. I think Judy Hopps or whatever. But just like animals like that are personified and can talk and speak whenever you think about Disney movies, just video games in general, things of that nature. If you're a fan of that, you're kind of appreciating furries because that's what the basis of liking furries is.
And I guess the difference is people in this furry community that kind of go the extra mile in that appreciation and end up getting suits. And, we've covered this in the past, but like these suits can be hundreds, thousands of dollars, custom made. They're huge suits that cover your entire body, and people put the kind of a personality, backstory, and origin behind these suits. There's conventions, meetups. They have, friends within this kind of whole universe. It's amazing to think about just as a subculture and, how much it's grown. But yeah, thank you for that explanation. And I guess in your case then, what is your fursuit and like what's your character and how do you decide on something like that, especially in the realm that you're in, which is this cam work and sex work, and how do those two become intertwined?
Yeah, of course. So I actually created my character back when I was basically a kid, which is crazy to think about. And back then, I didn't really know about the fandom. It was just more about a thing that I would see movies like Disney movies, or I would read books about animals. And I would just create my own characters like throughout elementary school. I was also really into Neopets. So I kind of just created a character through that. And she kind of evolved with me while I was growing up. Her name is Nui. She's a lynx and sheep hybrid. And she's more of like a realistic head, I would say. There's a lot of toony suits that look like Goofy. Whenever you think of like Disney characters, like mascots at a theme park, look more like that. My realistic suit, it looks more like an animal, I would say, but it's like different colorations and it's not exactly realistic.
How many suits do you have?
I have 2.
So one is this sheep hybrid that you're talking about, right? Mm-hmm. What's the other one?
The other one, her name is Aviva. She's like a synthwave cat. So she was like artistic liberty by the maker. What that basically means is I basically submitted a quote just saying, hey, can you make me a sexy synthwave cat? And she was like, bet, I'll do that for you. So so she's just, sassy, flirty, super colorful, and an eyesore, depending on how you view it.
And what makes it sexy? Like, does it have features, or I'm trying to imagine what this looks like exactly.
Yeah. So I guess like my definition of sexy, I'm not really attracted to my fursuit. I should clarify. It's just more about like, she has like those bedroom eyes and it's more form fitting. So it gets more of my figure in it. A lot of fursuits like have like padding and stuff like that to make it look more like an animal with like digigrade legs, which are basically, it makes it look different than straight legs. It looks like you're more like on hind legs or something like that. But yeah, it's mainly form fitting. She has those bedroom eyes. I don't know. It's just the look that she has. And she also has like cute hair, kind of hair weft. So she looks very sassy and has attitude.
Okay.
Like human, kind of like a lot of human qualities, I guess. Well, I guess they all do in a way.
Yeah, I would say so. Like, I talk in my suits and everything like that. I'm just basically myself, but I guess just more exaggerated. Because I'm not like sassy and sexy all the time or something like that. But when I'm in suit, I'm like, I'm gonna own this character. I'm gonna be more confident and just do what I want, kind of thing.
Yeah, totally. And what did you get into this and kind of mix it with your sex work mostly for your own interest at first, or was there a thought of, well, if I can reach this niche or this audience of, you know, men and women who are into this, it could be lucrative, or, you know, was it just purely like, well, I just would feel awesome and sexy and cool in a suit doing the thing that I'm doing anyway?
Yeah, was it like a business move, or was it just like naturally,
Right.
no matter what, you would have done this anyway?
Yeah, that's actually a really good question. At least for me, I feel like it's a mixture of everything because at least in sex work, you always want to have something different than other people. And, you know, getting something that's thousands of dollars to invest in that I feel like the majority of people wouldn't want to invest into, that really sets you apart from other people in that field. But even if I wasn't selling my content or anything like that, I still would do it. It's just one of those things that it feels more convenient to not have to hide my face or anything like that. Especially like, let's say I'm at a convention or anything like that. I just don't want people to really know who I am on the daily basis.
Yeah.
But yeah, it helps with that anonymous feature too, which I kind of like. It's kind of similar. Like, I wouldn't say fursuits are a kink or anything like that, but at least covering your face is something that a lot of people are into. I don't know if I would say like it's something I'm personally into, but I know other people enjoy it. So that's why I like to cater to what they like.
Yeah, I think there is an element of that because I mean, when I think of like sex parties, I always think of people with those like masks that you kind of like that you cover like their nose and eyes, and there's like
the
feathers on it.
gimps.
Yeah, like those. That's like immediately what I think. So yeah, I guess there is some sort of excitement that comes along with the. I can't even say this word, anonymity. I don't know if I'm saying that.
No,
It's a hard
I
one for
feel
me. But yeah, so I mean, there are people like Greg said. I mean, before we started the episode, there are people just like indulge in the furry community. So what exactly, you know, you do sex work in the furry costume. What is it? Strictly just camera? Is it strictly camera stuff, or is it just a mix of a bunch of different things?
Yeah, so it's a mix of stuff. So I usually sell like underwear or like socks and stuff like that. I like doing that because it's honestly easy for me. And I like doing videos and camera work. I do only just solo work though. I don't, you know, interact with other people in these videos or photos and stuff like that, unless it's just nudity and we're like maybe holding each other, like a Christian side hug or something like
Yeah,
that. But
Some like Mormon OnlyFans or something.
except you're naked.
Some people have like family photos like that. Like I've been in houses where it's like the mother and husband are like naked hugging each other. It's like in the hallway. I'm like, this is just strange to have here, I guess.
Yeah,
but I know exactly what you mean by that.
If we were paying customers interested in your fursuit costume, I mean, like what are we getting? Well, I don't know what like platforms you're on or what you're doing. So you said that it's solo work, but like, yeah, what would we be seeing you do, I guess?
Yeah. So honestly, I mainly just use Twitter. I used to use like things like OnlyFans, but honestly, I had it just to message people. I wouldn't actually post content on it. I was just like, subscribe to this if you want to talk to me. And people actually did that. So that was cool. But I think it's more about like, I would do like photos, videos. I do like a lot of suggestive content with other people. So there is that nudity aspect, or it looks like we're doing something, but in actuality, it's not. Or like, let's say I just do like penetration to myself, things of that nature.
And this is all in the suit?
Yeah. I wouldn't say it's the full suit though. I'm just paranoid, honestly, about having like fluids on my suit in general.
Things expensive.
Yeah. My suit's like thousands of dollars. So
Wow.
each one. So I would say altogether they're about like 10 grand, but
Holy shit.
yeah.
Well,
that's an investment. So it's some element of having the suit, like maybe you strip down layers or at least keep the mask on, but you're essentially still in this character doing whatever, solo penetration, suggestive things with others. Do you do like anything like, can people request things from you, or do you have like fans that, you know, you talk to, or that like want to role play or do anything like that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's like a combination of stuff. So I actually prefer custom work. So I'll do like custom photos or videos for people who request it, like in my DMs and stuff like that. As long as I give them a quote and they pay for it, I'll do it. And I used to sell things like a girlfriend experience. I'm not really into role play per se. Some people like get really in depth with that, and I just don't have the patience. But yeah, like I'll just pretend like I'm their girlfriend basically, and I'll message them throughout the day and send them like a sleazy photo or two, but depending on how much they pay. But that's like some of the stuff I would do.
Is there like a voice that you do? Is like a completely different like character, or do you act like an animal or something? Like I don't know. I'm asking.
Oh no, you're good. Not at all. I kind of just sound like this, honestly. I don't really hide who I am behind it. Like, I don't. If anyone wants me to act like an animal or something like that, I would just straight up say no. I just can't.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Because I know there is an element of that too. Because I have seen like other stuff where people, you know, they are interested in like. I actually think maybe that was a different episode, but we did talk to someone who like wears a dog mask and then they act like a dog the entire time. So I guess it kind of just differs from case by case, I assume.
Yeah, that might be more like pup play, but I honestly haven't.
That's what it was. It was pup play, yeah. So, but do you know, to Joe's point of, you know, you are to most people like understanding the costume, like it is an animal or it's animalistic. So I think one of the biggest critiques from people, you know, who don't understand the community is, well, why are these people fantasizing about animals? Or, you know, like, is this bestiality, or what's the deal? Why are these people into this thing? Like, what do you have to say to, you know, someone who would, I guess, propose that idea that obviously hasn't, you know, looked into or researched or understands, you know, the furry community or even like the fetish aspect of it?
Yeah, definitely. At least in regards to that, I feel like it's completely different than being with like an animal or anything like that. I'm having a human voice with it. I'm basically standing on like two legs in my fursuit. I just only get like art of being two-legged and basically the same, what's it called? Like anatomy as a human, just with more like an animal face. And when you think about stuff like in the past, like this might be weird, but even with like Egyptian art and stuff like that, like throughout history, people have always tried to make humans more anthro, and it's not necessarily a sexual thing with that. It's just more about maybe acting through those characters, if that makes sense, or a representation of something else. I wouldn't say it's necessarily animal in nature. I'd never view myself as being an animal or anything like that. It's just more about having fun. I don't think I would ever view myself as like an animal or anything like that. So
okay, I think that's a really fair point. When you look at just throughout ancient history, and I guess it's just an idea of taking on a different persona, or just, you know, whatever that freedom is of adding another element to yourself, or mixing with, you know, whatever it is, an animal or something, but it's not identifying as an animal, I guess.
Yeah, and I also just want to add to that, I also view it kind of like advanced cosplay. It's basically like people who cosplay don't really think of themselves as the people they're dressing up as. I would say it's similar to that with the furry fandom.
Mm-hmm. And is this what you're doing full time?
Oh, no. I just do this basically for fun and like a side hustle. I actually work full time remotely as an IT. I don't want to get too into it.
Yeah. You don't have to say what it is.
Yeah, no.
That's okay. So now you have the sort of double life aspect. And I'm assuming you obviously keep this completely separate. Like your coworkers don't know, or a lot of people you interact with in your everyday life have no idea that you're going home, throwing on a fursuit, and making a lot of people happy that are paying you money.
Yeah, at least with like the sexual aspect of it, I try to keep it to myself. I never mention it with a work environment. I just don't want anyone to know with that. But all my friends, my family, everyone knows about my fursuit. They love it. But at least with the sexual aspect, honestly, all of my family and my friends know too. It's
Nice.
like whatever. Yeah, I totally own it.
Oh, so they're just aware of all of it. I mean,
Yeah.
that must be sort of like freeing or liberating in a way to be like, yeah. I mean, I think it would be pretty tough to hide two $5,000 costumes in your apartment. And I imagine like, where are they? Like, do they just hang in your closet?
Yeah, so I live on my own with my partner and two roommates. We rent out a house actually all together, and it's a whole furry household. So we just have all our shit out there. Yeah.
That's sick.
Yeah.
Dude, that's a reality show idea, like a furry house.
That's why my friend was like, you need to get on this show. Like your life is insane.
Yeah, that's funny. It's just really part of just your existence. Yeah. And like to then go home in that environment. Because first you said I live on my own, but then you're like with my partner and two roommates. I was like, oh, that doesn't sound very alone. And I was like,
I meant without family, I should say.
Right. But I immediately thought like, oh, so where does she do the cam work? How is she hiding this or the costume? But yeah, if the people you live with are on board and literally furries themselves, that's you guys must have a lot of fun.
Yeah. At least when it comes to things in the public space, like living rooms and stuff, I just have my fursuits and stuff out there along with like all my roomies and my partner. But yeah, at least like for photos, videos, stuff like that, it's more like the bathroom, the bedroom. However, we're just like, we're all adults. If you see a dildo, it's like whatever. Like I don't give a shit. Like
yeah. If you see a dildo next to the $5,000 furry costume,
You know what happened.
Nothing.
Exactly.
has this?
I was going to say,
go ahead,
I
Joe.
know you guys are all like, doing the furry thing, but are they all doing sex work as well?
Oh, no. I would say, well, my partner isn't into that at all. He's completely safe for work and stuff like that with his suit. And then one of my roommates actually doesn't have a suit. And then my other roommate does have a couple of suits, and he does do that, but I don't think he actually sells the content. I think he just publishes it for free or like sending it to friends and stuff like that.
Who's this guy? That's
Yeah.
The Mother Teresa of the furry kingdom.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was
He's
thinking
doing
of the
everyone
name.
a favor.
exactly. Wow. So there was something I know that popped up in your email. There wasn't much detail behind it, but it looks like, I guess, was there a time where you did end up losing a job because of being a furry, or you mentioned being doxxed? Can you go into that?
Yeah. So that was actually back in college. Oh, what a great time. But there's people like I basically owned being a furry. I was like, if you don't like me with this, like I don't give a shit. Just take it how it is. But yeah, I had people who figured out my online presence with my fursuit in person and then would actually told my job on campus about it. And I used to work in residential life. So if you lose your job in res life, they just kick you out of housing and you don't have your job anymore, which really sucked ass, honestly. I was like homeless, honestly, for a duration, like a couple months, because it just came out of nowhere. And I could be on a whole rant with that, but it wasn't the best experience. And that's how my family found out. Thankfully,
wow.
they're accepting with it, but it could have been way worse.
Wow. Do you know, were these people you knew, or are they just like, do you know why they did it?
That's a good question. I feel like it was trying to get back at me for whatever reason. I don't feel like I'll ever know the answer as to why, because I would never want to destroy someone's life like that. Even if I hate you, I would never do that to someone.
Especially if you're causing no harm to them or anyone else. If you're just doing your thing.
Yeah. I always try to think about like other people and how I would like to at least personally be treated. Even no matter how angry or pissed off I am, I wouldn't go to that extent to get back at someone for whatever they do wrong. You know, I'd rather have a conversation with someone if they really pissed me off, you know, but
No,
you know,
for sure.
communication's hard, I guess.
For some people, and like, look, I mean, I don't know who these people are, and this is just an assumption, but you know, like you see this in so many different variations where, you know, you're someone who's clearly extremely comfortable in your skin and your suit. And like, I'm going to assume that the people who did this to you are definitely not on your level when it comes to being comfortable with, you know, what you're into and being able to put it out there. And that just always sucks to see when someone, you know, it has their own insecurities or isn't comfortable with themselves and has to try to take someone else down, you know, because they are so comfortable with themselves. But that sucks. But at least it seems like, you know, since then it didn't deter you from being a furry. It seems like it made you go even harder, and you seem happy with everything now, which is great.
Definitely. I feel like from that experience, I'm kind of almost glad it happened because it showed me who my real friends were, who actually stood by me, because they would let me like couch surf and stay at their place in like the living room for like months, basically, until I was able to get my own place. And that was the nicest thing anyone could ever do to me. And I really appreciate that forever with that.
Yeah, no, totally.
And with the whole, like, you know, furry thing, is this something that you kind of indulge in like every single day? You mentioned conventions before, so how often are there like get-togethers or conventions that you kind of attend?
Yeah, so at least where I live right now, I'll just say it straight up. I live in Colorado, and the furry scene here is like the biggest place ever. Every
way.
furry
Nice.
is like jealous of everyone who lives in Colorado because we literally have meets every other day, and some meets have over 100 people. I know there's like a bunch of different meets. Like, for example, this Saturday there's this event called Foxtrot, and it's actually at a gay club. And it's like basically $5 drinks. It's like so cheap. So everyone gets turned and in fursuit, and it's so fun. And like so many people show up to that. And there's also regular people in the bar, and just seeing how like excited they are, it's so fun. I enjoy
Damn.
doing that.
Is that an invite for $5 drinks? It would be cheaper to buy a flight and go to Foxtrot than go out drinking in New York. So
Yeah. I mean, I'm from New York, so I totally feel you there. You know, that's why I came to Colorado.
Yeah.
But yeah, at least like flights and beers and stuff like that. It's not. I would say it's not really the best thing in that environment because it's more like a club, I would say. But at least with like cocktails and stuff like that, you can get like a vodka cran for like $5, and honestly, in my experience, gay bars always pour heavy, and it's nice.
that's awesome. That's so cool. I'm curious too, just with the work, like if you wanted to, could you do this full time, do you think, and make a good living? Just the furry sex work, or no, it's a grind?
It's a grind. I know some people who do it full time, but then it's just like one of those things that if you do your hobby as your job, you're gonna learn to hate your hobby eventually. At least in my opinion.
That's fair. Yeah.
I feel like it's so mentally draining. Like everyone asks what you really do as a sex worker, and this just popped into my head. I feel like I'm more like a therapist than a sex worker. So
Yeah. I mean, you're a little bit of everything. Yeah. Like the people that you're dealing with on a daily basis. And we've heard that. We've spoken to a ton of sex workers on the show. And they've all said something similar about like some of the relationships that they form with people. And it almost becomes therapy for, you know, some of their fans or followers. But then at the same time, you're a content creator, like you're figuring out video, editing, posting, social media, branding, emphasize the word work in sex work, because it definitely is a lot of work to, you know, make a living and do all of that. But that's cool. And yeah, I know a lot of people, I'm sure Joe does too. It's like yeah, once it becomes almost too serious or you start relying on it for a living, it's like, man, this used to be my hobby, but now it's just more work. And I feel like I'm leaving my other job to just do another job and then the fun's out of it. But it seems like so much of this is just for yourself and your own pleasure, which is so cool because then you also get to get paid for it and, do what you love to do and hold the other job on the side. And it seems like a perfect setup.
Exactly. Yeah. I love just being able to just work with my own schedule too. Because if I need to focus with my full-time job that pays me the big bucks, I'd rather do that than focus on like sex work. Because it's a hustle, like you're saying, and it's very mentally draining, especially the things people say to you. And you have to be a certain type of person to do it. Like, honestly, I'm not strong enough to do that.
I was going to ask that too, because you said like some of these meetups are in like public places. So there's other people there. Like, have you ever run into a situation where someone is just like talking shit basically?
Depends. So like talking shit as to sex work, like to me or like in general?
Or as to the furries, you mean?
Yeah, I meant to furries in general.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Yeah, I've had a few instances like that if it's in a public meet setting. Like in Boulder, there's a Pearl Street Paws event. And usually we just walk around like this mall area. It's not like an indoor mall, it's like an outdoor kind of like a closed off street. So people can't actually drive there. But then there's like always like, kids and teenagers who just point and make fun of it. And honestly, I take my head off. I make sure I do all my makeup so I look hot as shit. And I'm like, okay, am I really that much of a loser? Like, please let me know.
That's so funny. Cool. But yeah, I guess, is there anything that you want to leave, like any message or anyone, who maybe is feeling like this is something that they might be into, either joining the community, researching the community more, furry sex work, like, we covered so many topics, but, anything to say to people who might not be as comfortable or in the place that you are now with just kind of owning this, identity and interest, any words for them to kind of help them pursue something similar? So
if you're ever feeling like that, honestly, it took me a long time to realize you should just say screw people who are going to judge you based off of something so harmless. You're not hurting anyone, so you might as well just do what you enjoy. It's your life. You live how you want to live it. You're not going to live this life to make other people happy. You need to make yourself happy first. And if you are interested in being like within the furry fandom, honestly, there's a huge community. If you just look up on Instagram, Twitter, through hashtags and stuff like that, like if you just look up furry in general, you'll find that on Twitter and especially Instagram. It's also a big community on TikTok. Honestly, I'm not really into that, but if you do want to do that, that's an option. And yeah, like honestly, there's so many different types of furries from different walks of life. Like my experience is so different in comparison to everyone else. So at least if my experience doesn't really line up with yours, like you have no interest in the sexual side of the fandom or things of that nature, you can find your spot in the community and you can do what you exactly want to do with it.
That's really cool. And I definitely think like I agree with you. And I've said this before about a bunch of different of our guests, but it's always awesome to hear people getting into something and being like, well, you can't keep people happy and this makes me happy, so I'm just going to do it. And however you react to that is how you react to it, but I'm enjoying this, so I'm just going to do it. And I agree. I think that people, if they find something like that in their life that makes them happy, but they're worried about something, they should just go for it also. So, really cool that you said that. And, we appreciate your time today talking to us and giving us some more insight, I should say, into the furry community and also your personal life with, all the sex work and everything as well.
Yeah, of course. I'm glad I can talk about it. But yeah, everything I said here, I hope I can give better insight into that part of the fandom. But yeah, it was great to talk to you both. It was a really fun conversation.
Yeah, no, a lot of fun. Thank you so much. And good luck with everything. And we'll keep an eye out for sexy cat photos.
Yes, I will send them your way. No worries. Don't worry, not explicit, but yeah.
Thank you. All right. Well, thanks so much.
Yeah, of course. Have a good one.
See
Have
ya.
a good one. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Before we get to our final thoughts, we do have sponsors for today. The first one being BetterHelp. BetterHelp is online counseling. So if you want to get connected to an online counselor, they can do that in just under 48 hours. So you'll be talking to a licensed therapist through BetterHelp that could help you with whatever you're going through. They have people who specialize in certain types of trauma or family issues, anxiety, things like that. They will set you up with someone. If you are connected with someone that you don't really vibe with, you can switch out of that. They make it very easy to, jump from therapist to therapist, find the right person, the right fit for you. Over 2 million people have used BetterHelp online therapy. A lot of people have DM'd me personally and told me that they have tried BetterHelp and enjoy it. So definitely check it out. I've been in therapy for a couple of years now, and I think that everyone should definitely do that. And with BetterHelp, since we're sponsored by them, our podcast will get our listeners 10% off their first month at betterhelp.com/OPL. That is betterhelp.com/OPL. You will get 10% off of your first month. So definitely go check it out. Like I said, we want to take care of our bodies. We also want to take care of our minds. So definitely go to betterhelp.com/OPL. 10% off your first month with BetterHelp. Next, also something that I think is super useful is Truebill. It's the new app that helps you identify and stop paying for subscriptions you don't need or want or just forgot about. We're constantly signing up for things or free trials or things like that, and then it charges you and you don't really realize. It just kind of gets buried in your bank statement. On average, people save up to $720 a year with Truebill. So it's not, we're all doing this, but you can get some help with Truebill. They'll help you identify these things that you're paying for and help you cancel them. So you could save, like I said, people save up to $720 a year, but I'm sure there's people who could be saving more than that, maybe even double that. Who knows? So definitely go use Truebill. Saved over 2 million users, helped them save over $100 million. So, everyone could use a couple extra bucks in their pocket. Definitely on average, $720 a year. I'll take that. So don't fall for the subscription scams. Start canceling today at truebill.com/OPL. Go right now. Truebill.com/OPL. Like I said, it could save you thousands depending on, the kind of stuff you're signing up for or forgetting about. I'm sure I have a bunch. So yeah, go to truebill.com/OPL for that. And lastly here, we have Green Chef. Green Chef is the certified meal kit company. They make it makes eating easy. Makes eating well easy with plans to fit every lifestyle, whether you're keto, paleo, vegetarian, gluten-free, or anything like that. They offer a range of recipes to suit your preferences, and you can enjoy your greens while being green. Because Green Chef is the most sustainable meal kit, offsetting 100% of their plastic packaging in every box and 100% of their carbon footprint and emissions. They come in pre-portioned ingredients, so you're not wasting anything. So, you get the recipe and you're like, okay, this is how I have to make it, and you don't throw anything out. You use all of it, and like I said, 100% of it is offsetting their carbon footprint and their plastic packaging. So yeah, it's great. It's a great way to get into cooking or to, start eating healthier. One of the hardest parts, at least for me, about eating healthy is just coming up with some recipes. Like, I don't really know what else to make besides basic stuff. But when you have a company like Green Chef that will provide recipes within your diet that you want to follow, it's great. It's great. And you get to keep them too. So it's like you're having a little cookbook as well. So definitely go check out Green Chef. You can go to greenchef.com/OPL130 and use the code OPL130 to get $130 off plus free shipping. Again, that is greenchef.com/OPL130 and use code OPL130 to get $130 off plus free shipping. Okay, so go check them out. Again, greenchef.com/OPL130.
I didn't mean that I wanted sexy photos from her. I just said sexy cat because that's what she said the character was. I wasn't asking her
Greg,
for explicit photos in case it came across like
bro,
that
I was
to anyone,
hoping because this would be the
or
most.
my wife if she's watching.
Yeah, I was hoping because this would be such a you thing. When I had asked about the voice and whatever, that you were gonna be like, do it right now. I was like,
Oh, dude, 100. I said it to myself in my head.
You're like, I'm gonna ask her to do the voice.
100%.
Yeah, no. So I'm glad.
And I think she would have done it.
Yeah, but but yeah,
I know.
I think this is, again, I mean, I said like kind of usually what I say in these situations, that it is really cool when people kind of do that in the furries. And I'll admit, I think that when I was a teenager, I would be one of the ones who would be like, what the hell? And like pointing and laughing. But now, after you get some insight and age and maturity, you realize that like it's actually really cool that people are that comfortable with themselves that they're willing to be like, yeah, I'm dressed up as something sheep hybrid,
A sheep wolf, something.
and like it's
Yeah.
just something, and like maybe it looks ridiculous to other people, but I'm not really worried about that. I'm just worried about keeping myself happy. Like that is really cool.
Everyone who does that is brave in a sense, right?
They're
And comfortable.
brave is like a
All right, yeah, firemen are brave. and
it's like
but-
it's like a battle kind of thing. The word I think is like I don't know.
self-assured, maybe.
What?
Like self-assured.
Oh, self-assured.
What do you think I said?
Self-assured. Like that, like selfish-erd, like self-assured. I was like, what? I didn't know what that meant. But anyway,
Yes.
yeah, no, it's interesting. And also the
It
fact
is
that,
good.
dude, how about the fact that like you said, there should be a reality TV show, The Furry House, like obviously. How does
Man,
that not exist? There's like
when we
TikTok
get-
houses with like these pretty
Exactly.
boys.
That's what I was thinking.
But a
like Hype
furry
House or
house?
whatever.
Come
Dude,
on.
a furry house would be interesting. One's a sex worker. One's giving stuff away for free. They all have jobs on the side. They have relationship. They go to meetups. When we get more time on our hands,
There's dildos.
we're gonna figure out. There's dildos. We're gonna figure out. We got. I don't know. We're gonna have to start traveling places.
Yeah,
And like
just
actually go to
hitting the furry
some
spots.
of these meetups or something and get some footage. But
I
yeah,
agree.
no, I mean you said it perfectly, and I think just to add to that, it's just so cool because it's so rare to speak to these people. Like it sounds so simple, and we've had the luxury of speaking to a lot of people who are so comfortable with themselves, but it is rare. Like just think of everything, the insecurities you have, I have, like all of us. Not saying that she doesn't have any insecurities, but for something that will be so judged by the outside world, to just find that balance and that simplicity of to basically someone who says don't care what other people think and actually live that way.
Yes.
That's rare, and it's just always great to hear from someone like that.
Yeah, it is. It is. But yeah, for anyone out there that wants to be a part of the show, don't hesitate. Reach out to us. Okay. You go to our website, oplshow.com, or send us an email directly at oplpodcast@gmail.com.
Yeah, and follow us on Instagram at OPL Podcast. If you guys want bonus episodes and help support the show, head over to patreon.com/OPL show and use that promo code OPL if you want to grab a copy of Pay the Price. We're guaranteeing you that this will be one of the most fun game nights you've ever had.
Guaranteed.
So check that out. Paythepricegame.com. Thanks for watching and listening.
See you next time.